Welcome back to the DGD Podcast. As always, your host, Robert Reynolds, Dan Kiley right beside me. Kia will be here shortly. Guys, Dan, Kirby Smart, Carson Beck, Malaki Starks, Mykel Williams descended upon Dallas for SEC Media Days. Obviously different, right? It's not in Atlanta or nothing like that. A lot to talk about, not just SEC Media Days. Dogs get another commitment. That's a big thing. And there's a video game out now.
Yeah.
So, it sounds like Georgia's a OP team, if I said that correctly. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. And then, obviously, we got to end tonight's show. Oh, boy, this is going to be fun. Rivalry draft. This is going to be interesting. First things first, the show is brought to you by our friends over at Apotheos, Roastery, and Alumni Hall. We're going to get more into that later. But first things first, Dan, SEC Media Days. Kirby Smart takes the podium, 10 o'clock Eastern. We have our new motto for the year, and that is assume nothing. I want to pose this. I want you to expand on what your thoughts are regarding that.
I mean, for me, it's pretty simple. It's, as fans, as people in general, there's certain assumptions that you make in life. And the one thing about sports is nothing's guaranteed. You can have the better team 9 times out of 10 or 10 times out of 10. But if you don't go in with the right attitude, you don't go in the right mindset, you can get beat any given Sunday, any given Saturday, whatever the case may be. I think what he's trying to say is that a lot of people just assume that Georgia's going to be in the playoff. And I know I'm guilty of saying it. I'm pretty sure you're guilty of saying it. Pretty much everybody's guilty of saying it this expanded playoff basically guarantees Georgia an opportunity to play for the national championship every year, right? I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but I know that I've basically said that. And I think that Kirby is trying to prevent that mentality from creeping into his locker room where they just automatically assume that they're going to be in the game. So I really like that. I really appreciate the mantra of assume nothing, because if you just assume that you're going to be there, there's a really, really good chance, a really high probability that you're not going to make it, because you have to put the effort in every single Saturday. But not even that. You have to put the effort in every single day in the weight room, in practice, in the film room, and all of that other stuff. Even in your rehab, you got to put in the effort. So don't assume anything, because you're not going to be given anything, and every other team wants to take what you have.
Yeah, no, I think ultimately, I think it's keeping the humility, right? I think that's probably the key word there within that whole statement is humility. Yeah, that's the way I took it. We saw that in the SEC championship game last year, right? A lot of us, like I said, I don't want to speak for you like you just said to me. A lot of us penciled in us into the playoffs, whether we won or lost, right? If come to find out we lose to Alabama and then you don't make the playoffs, right? So it's kind of one of those things where, it's obviously you can't assume anything. And that motto makes complete sense to me. And I also thought it was interesting. Kirby mentioned that he doesn't use past failures as motivation. Are you buying that?
No, I'm on record. I've already done this one today. I ain't buying that for crap. My whole point behind that was saying that is, I don't believe that that is never the main focus of the team, right? The bulletin board material or past successes or failures is never going to be the main motivation for this football team. I believe he motivates this football team week in and week out with being the best, doing the work, all that other stuff. But to say that never gets brought up, I think it's complete horse crap. And I think any Georgia fan that knows anything about Kirby Smart saw right through that. But if his overall point was that that's not how I motivate my team, then I agree. But it definitely gets used.
As Brett Thorson might understand when I say this, I think Kirby told a little porky pie.
Yeah.
I'll leave that there. Definitely not buying that at all. I would not. Yeah, that's like a hot stolen credit card. Not going to do it. Just not touching that. I also thought, you sit there, you talk about the schedule, right? I know when he got asked questions about it, right? Like We both listened to Brooks Austin, so I'm going to bring this up. One of the things Brooks called out, and it didn't take long, was bringing up Texas and Oklahoma into the equation, right? I get Georgia plays Texas this year, so I understand it. It's also been annoying that we've heard it with teams that really don't play Texas. But nonetheless, you sit there, and Kirby basically, long story short, said that Texas is good, SEC is great, right? Basically what Brooks said. And I also thought that it was interesting what Nick Saban said about Texas, and that he thinks that they're not going to just come in and run the SEC. And I think he's 100% right on this. I just do. Do I think Texas is going to be good? Yes. And then they're going to be a part of, I'd say, a vital part of our schedule, right? They're a crucial part of our schedule. We look at that as one of the bigger games of the season. However, when you look at the schedule, I think Georgia welcomes it. I think Georgia welcomes this, and I think it's honestly going to prepare yourself for a national championship run, right? Get into the playoffs and then continue from there. Compared to years past, though, Dan, this schedule as a fan, I'm loving this. Absolutely loving it. Do I wish the home away split would be different? Sure. Still don't think it matters as much. I just want to have good games. So where I'm looking at that regard. But I definitely think, this motto of assume nothing, right? To kind of tie this all back around. I think that motto, assume nothing, if it sticks and it is applied throughout the program, you're going to see that in each of your games, especially the tougher games. Do you agree or disagree with that?
Yeah. Listen, I think with the expanded playoffs, what it really does for the fans is it gives us the opportunity to have better games. That threat of if you slip up one time, you're not going to make the playoffs. That's gone. That's out of the equation now. So you can challenge yourself with great games, and you can afford to have that loss. One of the things, and completely off subject, one of the things that I really felt cost Georgia winning the national championship last year is they never had that game where they were ultimately challenged. There were some competitive games last year, but every time that Georgia was faced last year with a game that was a threat, right? Like Ole Miss, right? Ole Miss was supposed to be a threat game. We beat the dog out of them. Like Tennessee was supposed to be a threat. We beat them. Like every time that Georgia was threatened or challenged, they rose to the occasion and just wiped the floor of people, right? So I always felt like at the end of the year, when they got into that game with Alabama and it was a 4-quarter game where they had to make plays at the very end, they weren't able to do it. It's because they weren't forced to do it during the regular season. So I say all that to say that a more challenging schedule for Georgia is going to challenge them all year long. So, if they get into the playoff against a really, really good team, they got to make a play. Hopefully at that point, they've already had to execute in those situations earlier in the season. And then selfishly, we just get to see some really good football games, and we don't like to lose. I mean, I think Harrison said today that Georgia in the last couple of years is like 42-2 or something like that in the last 3 years.
Sounds right.
Like,
yeah. Sounds about right.
So we're not used to losing anymore, boys. We had those years where we would lose 2 or 3 games in the season. We hadn't lost but 2 games in 3 years.
Listen, love them to damn death, but Mark Richt teams, man, they gave you that fucking feel to it and never failed. Oh, I literally keep getting flashbacks to 2007. Just, you know what I'm talking about. As soon as something happened, and it just avalanche, man. That's one of the things that haunt me still.
You know what the crazy thing is? That might be the best team that Georgia ever had.
Facts. That's the problem. I'm telling you right now, you give Kirby that squad, oh boy.
Yeah.
Just gonna say, and I mean, we saw it, man. They ended up they ended up being one of the hottest teams in the country that year too.
The one thing that always tickles me is the Jim Donning got fired because he said, if I can't win a national championship with this team, you need to fire me. And he's even to this day, he says that he doesn't blame anybody. That's why he's never left Athens, because they were right. He's like, that is probably the most ridiculous, talented team that anybody's ever had, and I couldn't win with it. So, that's we just totally got off subject, but yeah.
No. I know what you're talking about. Let's see. Harry Leggy says we must see how Texas and Oklahoma fare over the course of the season. Yeah, we talked a little bit about that in the past, and I'm sure we've talked about it off offline, off air. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting because this isn't your Big 12, right? Like, listen, if you could do this if you choose to, but just bring up TCU's record over the past decade against Texas, and then we'll talk. Right? I mean, and listen, Oklahoma had ran the Big 12 for the most part, and we're talking more on Texas, but we'll see what happens. I agree with Harry there.
Well, I think
go ahead.
Nick Saban had a point, and I don't know that he necessarily said it this weekend, but he had a point that he's made multiple times over his tenure at Alabama. Is not that, he made the comment because somebody was arguing with him that the SEC was completely top heavy and they had nobody else, whatever. And he was making the argument that every team in the SEC is good, but they're all physical. And it was not so much that, every single team was a superstar team. It's just that every single Saturday when you got done playing football, you played a football game. And he was making the assertion that, in some of the other conferences, you have weeks where you don't really get banged up. And, that's the one thing that, to your point, we have to see how Texas and Oklahoma fare over the course of the season, Harry. You're 100% right, because they're going to have a dogfight. They may beat the hell out of these teams, but they're going to be physically hit and struck. And, can your body hold up? Now, listen, I don't have any doubts that Oklahoma and Texas are going to be successful, okay? I don't think they're going to run the SEC. They're going to be successful, and if you don't think that they're going to be successful, you're naive. They are two of the best programs in the entire country, have been. They are true blue bloods. Like, Georgia's not actually considered a blue blood. If you've ever seen the list of blue bloods, Georgia's not one of them. Yeah, close. We're getting there. We're earning our spot. But, I mean, Michigan, Notre Dame.
You can make an argument with that, though, to be honest. Like, you can make an argument. I say that. I'm not saying we are there yet. I'm saying you can make an argument for it if you so choose.
But like Texas, Oregon, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, like those are historically good programs that have been great forever and ever. Amen. And they're going to come in and be successful, but I just don't think I know they're not going to just run away with the SEC. That's just not going to happen.
Well, I mean, you spoke on the toughness of the conference, right? Like, I've said this over and over and over again. If you go back to 2020 and you look at the 2-game slate, Kentucky, bye week, Florida. Think about that. We beat Kentucky, I think it was 19-0 that year. Maybe I might be wrong. I know we won. But if you remember, that was also the game we lost like 5 starters in that one game. And at that point, that just shows you the things that it takes to win and what can cost you if you don't have the depth. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like Kentucky, everybody looks at Kentucky, and I even think you'll probably see some Texas fans do this. They'll look at Kentucky, and I think they'll overlook them to a point where it's Kentucky, until they get slapped in the mouth defensively.
They don't know any better.
I mean, all we can do is warn you.
Yeah. Hey, listen, that's been one of our toughest games, Robert. Kentucky has been one of our toughest games the last couple of years.
Past couple of years, Missouri. Yeah. Missouri. I mean, when you look at the situation, I mean, listen, you're going to have Bama's in there, right? I think that's an obvious gimme. That's a gimme. Like, Bama's always going to be tough. It's just what's going to happen. But if you look at it, right, Missouri played us close both years.
They almost beat us.
Beat us. You're a Malaki Starks shoestring tackle away from not probably getting into the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, of course, that's going to be tough. But at the same time, when you look at Kentucky, some of these games in the SEC should not be looked at from a scoreboard perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Because 19-0, 16-6, ugly games, right? But my God, is it physical as shit, and it just takes the toll on you, right? It's gonna smack these teams in the mouth when they get into a team that they're not looking at in that regard, that can play them physically and match up with them and just give them a dogfight, right? Oklahoma has to go to Auburn, if I'm not mistaken. Which, by the way, Carson Beck called it curse today, and I fully agree on that.
What are you talking about? I missed that. What did he say?
Carson Beck said that Jordan Hare was cursed,
Oh yeah,
and he's not wrong. He's not wrong at all.
Some of the craziest stuff ever has happened there.
My God, man! Georgia fans and Alabama fans can attest to that. Period. That's something that those two fan bases, our fan bases, can collectively agree on. Place is just kooky. It's just when you go into Jordan Hare, crazy shit happens. It just does that for some reason. I mean, and it's not like it's against your team. 4th and 31 just happened in Jordan Hare, and it cost Auburn. Well, it gets anybody. It just gets anybody. It's just weird.
The one thing that you haven't mentioned, and maybe you guys talked about this last week when I wasn't with you, is Quinn Ewers mentioned how Texas is going to be everybody's biggest game of the year, right?
We have not talked about that.
Well, that is another layer to Texas-Oklahoma coming in, right? It's like they are well-respected programs. Everybody knows that. But they're the new kids on the block. And the one thing that nobody in the SEC wants to do is let you come in and just railroad us, right? So there's a lot of truth to that statement, but it's not for the reasons he says. It's not because everybody just wants to beat Texas because they're Texas. It's because you're coming into our neighborhood and we're not going to let you just set up shop and be the big dog. So
if you have something to say about it, you sure.
So they're like, I fully believe they're going to get everybody's best shot.
I think what you're going to see is this, and I think see if they get the analogy here. Texas and Oklahoma are just getting onto the bus with a full bus, and they're trying to find the open seat. Where is that open seat? Is it going to be towards the front of the bus, or is it going to be toward the back of the bus? We'll see. So you gonna have some people be like seats taken, and then someone's gonna give it up because they can't do nothing about it. You get what I mean?
Yep.
Gen A. Anyways, I ain't going there. Fucking gumps. Anyways, I think Kirby brought up a lot of good points. Right, there's a lot of interesting things. Obviously, being in Dallas, you're looking at a situation where, hey, Texas and Oklahoma, it's a thing. By the way, horns down. Not a penalty. Welcome to the SEC. Because that shit that happened in the Big 12 ain't flying here. Twinkle toes. Yeah, sorry. It just is what it is. And listen, I think, what's his name? So there's a safety from Oklahoma, I think, that came in and talked or whatever, and basically put the Big 12 on blast for saying that he thought that was pretty soft that they gave a penalty for that. And I'm right with him. I'm right there with him.
Yeah.
Dude, listen, you've got Gator Chomps. You've got other things that the SEC have. You know what I mean? You've got neck. Like, that's not unsportsmanlike. They just get fined, but you get what I mean? Like, some of the best traditions, the most rowdy traditions, right? It happens in the SEC. And you got to have some tough skin. And I don't know if Texas or their fans thought that they could come in here and that shit would just apply in the SEC, but I was kind of expecting that it wouldn't. And I'd have been pretty pissed off if it would have transferred over. But to get the confirmation that, hey, it ain't going to hurt nobody. Like, it ain't going to, like, you see what I mean? It's not going to be like that. So go for it. You know what I mean?
SEC's had precedence on that. I mean, you remember when, what's his face? No Sean Marino scored against Florida. He did that. Yeah.
Dude, wait till ETN comes and does that in red and black. I'ma love it.
That's gonna be hilarious.
Dude, Keon's called that already.
Yeah?
He called that. Oh yeah, he called that. It's gonna happen. Kirby's petty enough to do it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that Kirby's gonna be behind that, but
it'll
happen. Yeah.
Oh, Kirby's listen, Kirby's our coach, but he can be petty when he wants to. Like, this. You know it. But at the same time, I mean, to ice on the cake for Florida, let Rashada score a touchdown. Oh, boy.
Yeah, he's going to play in one game all year. It'll be the Florida game.
It'd be the Florida game. He'd throw a nice little touchdown pass to ETN out of the backfield.
Oh, hell no.
That would be the ultimate salt right there.
Dude, I think Gunner would sign off on that.
Oh, dude, Gunner would be like, fuck them. I think he would. He's a Georgia boy. I think he'd understand it.
They'd be like, hey, Gunner, we're going to put Rashada. And he's like, Let's go.
Hey, man, just let that happen. Boy, if that happens, oh my God, people gonna tune in for that like
That'd be
nobody's
good times.
business. Oh, dude. First off, you'd be beating the fuck out of them, and then the fact that you rubbed it in like that, oh, dude, that'd be nasty.
I mean, listen, we all know that that what does they say? Turnaround is fair play. I don't know what you know what I'm talking about. Like we're gonna get ours at some point. At some point, we're not going to be at the top of the mountain, and Florida's going to beat the hell out of us. But you know what? I'll take it when it comes.
Listen,
in the meantime, in between time,
we popping shit over here.
Yeah,
we popping shit every week. Every week, I don't care. We go. It's always fuck Florida where we over here. That's just what we do. So I want to ask you this. So Mykel Williams was speaking, but obviously he's looking at transitioning to Jack, right?
Mm-hmm.
Said that the split's been 70-30, 60-40 D-line to outside linebacker. What do you make of that? Because my thought is it makes sense because I think in the NFL he's going to be that type of run support guy that can do, that can rush the passer. But I do want to see his hand off the ground something too. Does that tie out to what you were thinking, or what are your thoughts on the percentage split that he gave up earlier?
So I don't really know what to make of the percentages, but I do know what to make of cross training, right? So, one of the things that made Trayvon Walker so valuable to the NFL to be the number 1 overall pick when he was never the best player on our team is just his upside and his versatility. And I think that's one of the things that, if he's able to show that he's really good coming off the edge with his hand in the dirt, and then he can also play in space. I just think that just makes him more valuable. I understand that. And, the one thing that Kirby does I shouldn't just say Kirby, but him and his entire staff, they do such a great job of making sure that they get the most out of a player, but then also prepare that player for the next level and then put them in a position to play at the next level. Like how many times can you think of in the past, not necessarily Georgia, but other places where a guy plays out of position or in a position just specifically to help that team, but they don't really do anything to help that guy to the next level. It's just like, hey, we're going to use you here and you figure out the NFL when you get to the NFL.
I'll tell you who's not doing that, and that's Brian Kelly with Harold Perkins. You could say compared to his freshman year, last year was an ultimate disaster. But at the same time, it's preparing him for the next level. He's learning and developing that way, and I'm okay with that. I mean, even if it's a detriment to your team, like the fact, you've coached football before, right?
Yeah. So you're throwing flowers to Brian Kelly. I thought you were going the other way.
No. I think that's actually that's putting some skin out there, right? Your own skin to better develop and have that kid's success. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because at the next level, he's what he did his sophomore season is what they're going to do to him, in my opinion, at the next level. He's got to be able to do that and learn it. While also, if you remember, as a freshman, his sack stats went through the roof. Depending on the situation, you might have a team that puts him as an edge rusher. But is he better suited at that? Or is he better suited at a linebacker where you just cover, but then you can also run support and pass and rush? You know what I'm saying? I think Brian Kelly's doing the right thing. It's just it looks bad from an LSU vantage point. However, the optics of helping your player get to the next level and not just win games, even though it's costing you, I think that I'll give him props for that.
So I think the difference between Brian Kelly and Kirby Smart is that Kirby Smart can do that and still get productivity out of the player.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest difference. Like now, granted, but Trayvon Walker just will always be a mystery to me. I'll never figure that one out. Like he was never, I mean, like there's I've seen evaluations and people like, oh, he was so great. But I'm like, no, he wasn't. He was never that guy at Georgia.
A lot of it was just physical freak. And I mean, to be fair, what you're seeing is the product of a nameless defense. They called that, right?
Yeah.
So you had, I mean, think about it. You had Trayvon getting his at times. You had Nolan getting his at times. You would get N'Kobe Dean get his, Channing and Quay. You would get Jordan Davis getting behind and making plays. But the stats would, like Jordan and Trayvon, their stats weren't the greatest, right? It wasn't like an Ndamukong Suh like statistical season. It just wasn't. But I will say they did make an impact. All of them together made a huge impact. I think we can't argue that. So I think when you look at the NFL, right, the first off with Trayvon, measurables are just insane. Testing numbers, insane. But I think certain teams look at the potential on top of the fact that, right, I think they understood Georgia's defense in a sense that there's just so many good players that the stats didn't necessarily matter as much, that the domination mattered in that regard. And I think certain teams looked at that and didn't get carried away with statistics.
Well, if you look at that defense, if I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, every single starter on that football team, on that defensive football team, got drafted.
They did.
Every last
even
one.
Backups.
Well, I'm talking about that particular year, every starter got drafted, and then the next year starting defense, like all but one or two got drafted.
Yeah.
And then a lot of them were in the first round. So
it's just crazy because in 2021, our secondary was our weak spot, but our front seven made up for it.
Yep.
So, I mean, it is what it is there. Speaking of, we're talking about dominating defense. Let's transition to this. College football, EA Sports College Football 25 came out Monday for early, I guess you could say early pre-orders or whatever.
It's out.
Yeah, I mean, apparently you've been playing it.
My thumb is so swollen.
Dude, the thing looks terrible.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a rite of passage, I guess. I mean, eventually I'll get a console, but until then, I'll just watch people play and suffer. It is what it is. Speaking of, so explain. Let's talk about this game for a second. I've watched some people play it. The gameplay looks absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Tell us about the game.
I mean, it's awesome. It's not a Madden reskin, which was my biggest fear. But it's not very different. If you've played Madden, I mean, you've played this game. I mean, they're very similar in a lot of different ways. I mean, there's just certain things that are aggravating. First of all, it's incredibly difficult to pass on this damn football game. I mean, the damn defensive players, they make a guy's running wide open. All of a sudden, the guy will come out of nowhere and break it up or pick it off. I used to play this game on All-American level, sometimes Heisman level. Shit, my ass is playing on varsity right now. At least I'm not playing freshman, but I'm playing on varsity right now, and I mean, it's still a struggle. Like, I was Michigan my first year because Georgia didn't want me. Won Heisman and everything like that, and everything was a struggle. Everything was a struggle. Like, I mean, Michigan would, or it doesn't really matter. The team that you're running on Road to Glory would give up 40 points in the freaking fourth quarter just to make it a close game. I mean, it's the most ridiculous shit you've ever seen in your life. But so I switched to Georgia, and if you have Georgia, you could just carve people up. Like, I mean, it's silly. Like I said, it was so hard to win with Michigan. And then I went into the transfer portal and transferred into Georgia after Carson Beck left. And now I'm beating people like 90 something to 20. Like, it's crazy. So I have to go back up to All-American now.
You might as well just turn that damn thing up to Heisman at that point with Georgia.
Oh, Georgia is so sick. But I'm telling you, like, the game, the one thing, all right, I will tell you this, what they nailed, okay? The pageantry, the introduction, the video, the cutscenes, freaking incredible. The cutscenes are freaking incredible.
The graphics look real good too.
That's what I'm saying. It's just incredible. I would say the most disappointing thing is the commentary. It's so bland, and they don't say Carson Beck. They say the quarterback, right? When they're doing the play-by-play. Now they'll say, coming on the field for Georgia as a quarterback is Carson Beck. But during the game, instead of saying like Beck to Bowers or Beck to Delper or something like that, it will just say the quarterback had a nice throw to the tight end. And I understand why, because it would be very difficult to do that for every single player.
134 teams, I think, ain't it?
Yeah, it just gets kind of bland.
I mean, if that's what you're complaining about, I think it's a good game.
It's been 11 years, okay? It should be perfect.
Listen. It's a lot of damn money.
Oh, you got that right.
I will say, if I'm not mistaken, you also have an option to choose commentary teams, which is new.
Which is new. It's pretty cool. So you have your game day crew, which is Reese Davis, David Pollock. Huh? No, it's
No, it was good.
It's Reese Davis, David Pollock, and the quarterback.
Kirk Herbstreit?
No, the other quarterback, the Jesse Palmer.
Okay, gotcha.
And then so that's called the game day broadcast, and then the big game broadcast is Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit. So you can choose which one you want.
I'm just waiting for the game where they bring in Brad and Gary, and we'll put it on a Bama game just to let Gary talk about them. just
stop it.
I'll stream it. Harry says I'm going to buy it for my oldest grandson. Played with his friend on the free trial. Nice. Yeah, I feel like, listen, it's nice to be able to put NCAA 14 to rest finally, right? Game held us through the hard times, man. It did. Yeah. So I thought definitely a game. If you haven't done it already, I would suggest, even if you're just watching it, invest in the game.
Oh, and I have to tell you, shout out to my boy Dylan Fairchild, 99 overall. You run behind his ass, you're scoring every time.
Wait, okay. I think I get what you're saying. Is his run blocking 99?
No, 99 overall.
Oh, okay.
He's the best player in the game.
Gotcha. I'm telling you right now, I've watched my boy Trey bunch of clips and stuff on Twitter. Boy, pick six.
Dude, I'm telling you, you run behind Dylan Fairchild, you're scoring every time. At left guard.
Yeah. No, also, and Keon will attest to this in a little bit, Anthony Evans. Ridiculous.
Dude, they got him as the 75.
But his speed is insane. Watch him.
It's so all right. I didn't get to play the first season because remember I told you I had to go to Michigan my first year, right? So I transferred in. So like Malaki Starks, a lot of those guys are gone, right? My wide receivers are Humphrey is the one. Dylan Bell is the 2, and then Nitro is the 3. And Nitro is an absolute badass in that game, and so is Dylan Bell.
Well, I was about to say, what are the hidden aspects of the team that maybe people need to adjust? I feel like you got to put in Ellis and KJ.
Yeah. So they're I don't know. I play in Road to Glory. I haven't played defense. Well, that's not true. I just played my son and got absolutely roasted. So I don't know.
Oh, they're kids, man. They're good at these things.
He was Ohio. Well, I used to be really damn good at it. So my pride took a beating just a little bit ago, right before we got on.
I feel you there. It sounds rough. It really does.
Oh, he talks shit the whole time.
I could see that now. Like I thought you were good. You had years to play this game. Like,
dude, he's up 11. He's up 11 with 30 seconds left, and he's running no fucking huddle.
Oh, what an asshole.
And he did. He scored with 8 seconds left. He was like, "Bro, you're ass at this game."
What an ass move. That's a whole ass type move right there.
I was like, "This is why I don't play with you." He's like, "Don't suck. Get a stop." That's what he kept saying. Get a stop, bro. Get a stop.
He trying to be the parent, not the teacher, man. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Just wait till your kid's 17.
Oh God, please don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. Oh man, let's talk about a commitment here. When Keon pops in, we'll revert back because I know, to be fair, this man he literally played all night, Monday night. So I'm sure he's got stories too.
I had to be at work.
Yeah, ditto. Also, Rashad Johnson commits to Georgia. Now you're looking at a class that's starting to shape up, right? I think you're at 18 or 19 commits now, I want to say. And it's mid-July. Listen, it's not going to be it's not going to be a number one overall class. And the reason why, and Kirby attested to this earlier, was that Phil Knight money. Like, did you hear about Kirby's comment about Phil Knight?
I didn't, but I did hear Phil Knight.
He mentioned, he's like, talk about, because so to preface this, he had mentioned studying Nike over the off season and stuff like that. And he's like, learned a lot from Phil Knight. And I wish Phil would have gave me some of that NIL money, but that's like he did Dan. But it's a different story. And to be fair, he basically just said what most every coach in America wanted to say, but he had the cojones to actually just say it. But yeah, I'm calling it right now. Oregon's going to have the number one class, and it's going to be silly. But that doesn't take away from how special this class can be for Georgia. I genuinely think that. Rashad Johnson commits. He's 4-star safety. Looking for a cornerback, right? You got Todd Robinson. You got Shamari Earls in the fold at the corner. I think you look for a second corner. You got 3 safeties right now. This class is still going to be good. It's going to be very good. And honestly, you're looking at within the next week, you're looking at the 20th, actually. This upcoming Saturday is going to be a very busy day. You got Cortez Smith. You've got Christian Gass, Bryce Davis. Even though I don't necessarily see Bryce coming here, I think he probably ends up at Clemson. That is a Georgia target. Georgia's been on him for a year and a half. So you're looking at a big day on Saturday, and still there's some names that'll pop at some point, and you probably just lose your mind. But overall, I guess you could say to this point, what are your thoughts on the class with the addition of Rashad Johnson?
Listen, I'll say this as plainly as I can. It's a Kirby Smart class, right? He's getting who he wants for the most part. Like, did he get everybody he wants? No. There's always going to be competition. There's always going to be the guys that go for the money. And I don't blame them. I don't begrudge them. I don't hold it against them. But, like for me, Kirby gets pretty much who he wants. And the guys that he wants end up playing really, really damn good football for the University of Georgia. So until they stop doing that, I'm not going to question any classes. Listen, are there some guys that would be pretty cool to get? Yeah, absolutely. I would love to have one of those 5-star wide receivers. I know we're not allowed to say that anymore because people get the wide receiver fatigue. But yeah, I mean, it would be nice to have like a Jeremiah Smith one time. That would be pretty freaking awesome. But Kirby, again, puts in the work. His staff puts in the work. Those guys are relentless on the recruiting trail, and they don't disappoint. At the end of the day, just get a top 3 class. I mean, we've been so freaking spoiled. Do you understand like what we would have done in the early 2000s to have a top 3 class? Oh my God, I would have cut my foot off. We just, you're right. Just get the best guys where needed. And Kirby is on, his track record says that he's been successful doing that.
I think we look at it, right? The way Kirby and that staff compose the recruiting board, if you will, I'm going to say all positions. It's almost like they are recruiting years in advance, which you should be. And I'm here for that. I think you look at in that situation. Fashionably late, Keon. Probably just got done playing a video game for some reason, but either way. But no, I think you look at this recruiting class. If you hit the guys that you're supposed to and get, there's no denying the best defensive line in the country on this class is in Athens, Georgia. Dan, you got something? I feel like you got something there.
Yeah, so the only other thing, all right, so I know that we were on record in the past of whining about wide receivers, but I do have a question, and I want you both to give me your honest answer at this point, right? Okay. Are we at the point where you're going to start worrying about the running backs? Because when is the last time we landed a running back that was like – I mean, we have not got a Todd Gurley in a long-ass time since Todd Gurley. Like we used to get the running back we wanted all the time. When's the last time we got the back?
My question is this.
Ho?
And I think Nate'll be good for sure. Yeah.
You think he's Todd Gurley?
I ain't gonna compare him to Todd Gurley. I know what you mean. I'm not gonna do that.
So I think when we have these conversations, we have to keep in mind some of the guys that we've had come through this program and that play different positions. They are very much so generational. There's not many guys that you can say that have even came out, no matter if they came to Georgia or not, that you could put on Todd Gurley's level, to be all the way honest and all the way fair. But we do have great guys that are here at this program at this very point. With Nate Frazier, Chauncey Bowens, Dwight Phillips. Random, but I found myself watching Dwight Phillips Sr. Olympic highlights, and then watch some of Dwight Jr.'s highlights. And this I can't wait for him to get in and get into the rotation. But as far as the Todd Gurleys, there's not many guys that you can really say that have came through college football since Todd Gurley that are of that magnitude.
I'm gonna add something else. If Georgia has done the mix flip, if you will, right, since Todd Monken, we've become more of a passing team. So long as we do that and it's working, whatever recipe they have for success, I mean, because think about it. We have 2 national titles, and do we have that kind of Todd Gurley running back? No.
Nope.
Now, I will say this. I'm not sitting here and saying that I don't want another Todd Gurley-esque type player. I'm not saying that. I'd be silly to think that. But I will say, if we become more of a passing team and the mix is a little bit skewed over to the passing side, and we're successful and we're winning games, we're making it to the SEC title game, winning SEC titles, winning playoff games, all of that, right? National titles, obviously the end goal. However we do that, if that means that we don't have that Todd Gurley-esque type player, but we're winning championships, at the end of the day, I don't give a damn.
But you know what having a back to that caliber does?
I know what it does.
That's what
I know what it does.
I'm not saying we have to have anybody rush for 2,000 yards. I'm saying that game-changing back. Well, I mean, listen, it was totally unfair of me to say Todd Gurley because Nick Chubb was a freaking dog. DeAndre Swift was.
You're talking about the dynamic, game-changing running back.
The game-changer back where every time he touches the ball, there's a chance he could go. And you know what? Zamir White was supposed to be that, and I think if he hadn't gotten hurt.
Had he not got hurt with the 2 ACLs, I think you could have seen that because his high school tape was stupid. Some of the best high school tape I've ever seen in North Carolina football.
I'm going to be all the way honest. I feel like as far as the guys that we have in the running back room, as far as any time if they got an open lane, it could be a house call.
Etienne.
To be all the way honest with you, I think Trevor Etienne is that right now. I mean, you think back to his time that he spent there at Florida. You think about the games that he's played with us, like just last year's game. If it wasn't for a linebacker being close in his vicinity, he was the only one on the side of the field at that point in time. So it's like, if, we've got saved from him scoring a house call on us. But I think with him being here, I think it's only going to add to the room. I know I completely missed the Kirby Smart SEC Media Days breakdown, but just like Rob said, college football 25.
Keon,
Wow.
Actually, this is a perfect transition. Me and Dan have spoken our piece, right? Let's do this. First things first. I want to make sure we talked about them first to start the show. Let's bring up our first sponsor, right? Alumni. We'll do Alumni Hall first. We're going to switch it up and go all the way off. Alumni Hall, right? Do us a favor. Go to DGDpodcast.com and go shop Alumni Hall. When you use our website, right? DGDpodcast.com. Oh, hear that dog?
Go Dogs.
Yes, exactly. Go to DGDpodcast.com. Shop Alumni Hall. 8% of the total order will go to the Classic City Collective. Guys, do us a favor. Get your game day gear. Get everything you need. They got it all. Nike, Cutter and Buck, Peter Millar, polos, shirts, all of it. You name it, they got it. Go shop Alumni Hall. It's where the dogs shop. Keon, I'm going to give you the floor. Dan, do you have anything you need to say before we do this for Keon?
Yeah,
Keon, I'm gonna let you do this. Tell us your piece on Kirby Smart and college football 25. You have the floor is yours.
Can we get a zero in on me real quick? Because first, we're going to start with college football 25. This is by far going to be, it is right here, right now, in this moment. This is going to be the best game released this year. And it's not going to be close. Since I've been playing this game, I mean, I started playing from 7:30 last night all the way up until 7:45 this morning. And I think even Rob can timestamp that because he talked to me at 7:45 this morning. By far the best game I played in years. I really can't even. I don't even think there's really much that I can even really compare this game to. I mean, I think the only other game that we're going to see that's going to be anything remotely close to this when it comes to the attention to detail, the excellence, the precision, the concepts, the ability for just not only recognizing where your DBs are, where DBs could be, but just understanding that if you don't even tap a button the right way, you can easily end up throwing an interception. So, layering passes as well. I think the only thing that might come close to this yet again is going to be the next GTA. But this is amazing. As far as playing with Georgia, I'm going to tell you, Trevor Etienne, he get the ball in open space, just like we were talking about a home run hitter. Yeah, that shit's house called. That shit is house called. Carson Beck, cannon. I'm going to tell you this. If Carson Beck can come out in real life, just like how he said at SEC Media Days, he said he ain't worried about nothing that's going on a game. He's worried about doing it in real life. Well, Carson, if you can do what I have accomplished with you so far on college football 25, if you go out there and do that in real life, we're winning the Natty. He's winning the Heisman, and he's a New York Giant. Now, the Kirby Smart speaking at SEC Media Day, I have to say some of his best work. It's one of those things now, like people within our fan base, we kind of joke about it. We laugh about it like, man, here comes the SEC Media Days. Here comes a Kirby quotable. And man, the phrase "leave no doubt." I don't know what that says to you, Rob, but to me, what that says is leave no doubt, meaning at no point can you deny it. Meaning, we're going to go out here and smack the shit out of people, and it's going to be no doubt. We're going to leave no doubt in your mind that they're not going to be able to run with us. I mean,
I love how you took it. Dan, I love how he took that out of that, where we talked about assume nothing. Right. I mean, ultimately they tie together. But, I mean, at the same time, if we're popping shit, leave no doubt sounds good to me too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, leave no doubt, assume nothing, meaning, hey, look, all of it's in front of you. You have to go out there. You have to prove that without a shadow of a doubt that, this team is victorious. This team is the best. I think Kirby is going to do that this year. Just watching him go through it all, you really start to think he's in year 9 this year. Isn't that crazy? Year 9. And you're adding new teams into the conference. You're switching up the schedules. I mean, I think he handled everything very well when it came to even getting asked questions to Brooks Austin. Shout out Brooks Austin. it seems like he's more comfortable than what he's ever been, to be all the way real. And it's, to me, that's something that I think is kind of noticeable throughout the entire speech there, from him talking to the media. It was very interesting. It was very interesting to witness.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think you're going to have people saying that he's more comfortable because Nick Saban's not there. But at the same time, they're not wrong.
I feel like I
wrong.
actually disagree with that. I think he is in a weird space, and that was one thing I did kind of notice. The fact of not having Nick Saban there as a coach alongside, across from him, in a sense of him being a part of the media. I mean, I remember seeing something, him saying, me answering questions about Georgia from Nick Saban kind of reminded me like I was talking to Darth Vader. So it's, I don't know. I think he's entered a new space. I think Nick Saban's entered a new space. I think Kirby has entered a new space within their friendship. I mean, for Christ's sake, he said that Nick Saban is actually responding to text messages. Freaked out. He had to have been the first time he sent a text message, and within 24 hours it got answered. He was probably like,
Cradle of Phil civilization.
Right. But I just
Jesus
think it's
Christ.
a different. I just think that they're in a different space at this point.
All right, check this out, gentlemen. We are preparing for Keon the draft, but the draft topic tonight is rivalries. College rivalries is the draft for the night. Harry Leggy has determined that we are random list, or we're going to randomize it 7 times. So okay. I'm going to do that, right? I'm going to do that, and we're going to determine the winner of, or the order, I should say, the order of the draft. Keon, tell us about our second sponsor, Apotheos Roastery.
I'm not going to lie. Apotheos Roastery, I maybe needed you in the worst of ways today. It's the best coffee that you can find south of the Mason-Dixon line. You can't go anywhere else. Get the K-Cups. I'm still, Apotheos, if you're listening, smack a cold brew. Smack a cold brew out there for us to make it global. Actually, don't even make it global. Bring it here. I'll make it global. Okay?
Dan,
Apotheos coffee.
Top tier stuff. Dan, you're an Atlanta United fan, right? You like watching the soccer team?
Yeah, sure.
They have so they're the partner with the Atlanta United. Apotheos just dropped a new blend. I think it's a 5-stripe blend, I think is what it's called. And it's based with the United team. So that's something there. If you're interested in getting Apotheos, just go to our website, dgdpodcast.com. You can shop Apotheos. Use code CCC at checkout, and you'll get free shipping on your order, and 20% of every bag of coffee or K-Cups that you get will go to the Classic City Collective, because not only are they partnered with the Atlanta United, they're also the official coffee and cold brew partner of the Classic City Collective. So when you buy Apotheos, you are supporting them dogs. I'll leave it there. Now, we have the order for this draft, but let me make sure that everybody understands what we are doing. We are doing 3 rounds. We are doing snake draft. Excuse me, the draft topic is NCAA rivalries. Now, this doesn't have to be just football. You can make it that way. But this is any college rivalry. We're going to be inclusive on that. All right. So are we ready for the list in the order?
Let's go.
All right. First pick overall will be Keon. Then it will be Dan. And I will be at number 3. So with that being said, the DGD Podcast Rivalry Draft is now underway. Keon, you are on the clock.
Red River Rivalry.
Oh, that's an interesting start. That is an interesting start.
Yeah. There's a lot of good ones. A lot of good
Oh,
ones.
there are. There are.
And I'm going to go with this one because this is my favorite. And I know that Robert probably wants this one. So I'm going to pull it right off the board. Duke, North Carolina.
You hurt my feelings a little bit.
I hope I did.
You hurt my feelings a little bit.
Do want to let the record reflect. Carolina, UNC have won the last two. Thank you.
I'm going to need you to kindly fuck off with that. With mine, I'm going to do this. I've got to do this. Give me the Deep South's oldest rivalry for my first round pick. And then because of the snake draft, give me the game, Michigan, Ohio State.
Yeah, Keon gets really upset because I win all of these drafts. And I'm going to put myself in
That's not the case because I won the last one.
Well, because I wasn't here.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
I definitely won the last one.
So, listen.
But not what the poll said.
All right. So, I have Duke, North Carolina.
Yeah.
My second one, Army, Navy.
Oh, it's a good one. Solid pick. Solid pick. Solid pick. Now, remember, this can be all-inclusive. All-inclusive. All sports don't matter.
Also, wait, it can be whatever. All right.
Yeah.
Give me the Iron Bowl.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
That was my other pick.
Yeah,
right.
That's a good one.
Oh, wait.
Hold on. He gets to go back to back to start the third round.
All right. So give me a Penn State wideout.
That's a rivalry?
Oh, wait, no, wait, hold on. Wait.
Well, yeah,
Easy,
I think we had if you want that, you can have it.
Wait.
If you want that, you can have it. Save us a pick.
Yeah.
You'll win that one for sure.
Give me the world's largest cocktail party.
I knew that was coming. God damn it.
Yeah.
That was a good one. That's a good one. Dan, your final pick. What might it be?
Oh. Fuck.
There's this one's there's still some really here's the thing. There are some really, really good ones out there. We could do 5, and I think you could fill the board out.
Yeah.
Like we could do that if y'all really wanted to. But if you want to see the 3, I get it.
I mean, we can do 5.
Yeah. All right.
Does that change your draft strategy?
Yeah. All right. So we'll do 5. We'll do 5, right?
Consider it done.
Okay. So here we go. Done. So for this one, I'm going to take Notre Dame USC.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one.
You got one more?
No.
What? No, I don't. I'm in the middle.
Oh, wait, no. Rob has to.
Yep.
My bad.
Give me third Saturday in October. Those motherfuckers hate each other. They fucking hate each other. Hate each other. Excuse me. Now, on my next pick, this is going to be fun. And this one starts to get tough if you really think about it. There's so many good ones out here that this becomes a little bit tricky. For some reason, I want to say. No, I have to think about this because I've got a decent amount of what is it called? Decent amount of SEC, but it makes sense. It just does. I want Miami and Florida.
Okay. Is it my turn?
Because think about this. I'll give you justification. Right now, it is what it is.
Oh, wait, no, it's a snake.
Put that shit back in the 90s.
Okay. Okay.
Now, with that being said, Dan, it is your turn. Fourth pick for you, sir.
All right, I have one that's not going to make any sense to you guys.
We'll see
you're
if
not,
it does.
You're not going to get it at all. It's Boston College versus Boston University in hockey.
Oh, that's a good one. I know what you're talking about. That's always a good one.
The Bean Pot. Well, actually, it's called the Green Line Rivalry, but that's one of the most intense hockey. I mean, that's an intense rivalry.
I'm with you on that one. Keon, you get to do your fourth and your final pick back to back.
Give me Bama LSU.
I was literally going to take my last pick, but I like Miami, Florida.
And give me Oregon, Washington.
It's not bad. Okay.
Yeah.
Dan, what about you, sir?
Oh, Lord. There's only really one basketball one that's worth a crap. I got it. I got the best hockey one.
I see what you're doing. He's thinking all sports here. Get it? I get it.
There's not really any legendary college baseball rivalries. I can't think of a single one that really moves the needle.
I can.
Can you?
Yeah.
Tell me one. I mean, I'm not going to pick it, but just tell me it.
Keon's done. So
Florida and Florida State.
In baseball?
You got Florida versus Miami. Wait, that one's already off the table now, aren't it? I would say, baseball. Ooh.
All right. Well, I'm going to go back to football, and I'm going to go. Alabama, Tennessee. Hello.
Called that. That's my.
Oh, did you? Oh, shit.
Yep.
I wasn't paying attention to you.
I'm surprised this one. There's still some good ones that we ain't called out.
No, that's a fact.
Well, the Paul Bunyan's axe. That's what Michigan, Minnesota, right?
Or I thought that was.
Hell, I don't know. I don't know.
I'll give you another good one.
No, hold on. Let him pick. Let him pick. We'll talk about this after. Make sure this is all fair and game here.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, I'm struggling.
The chat's good. You're gonna give it away.
Yeah, I'll take that one. West Virginia, Pittsburgh.
That's eat shit Pitt.
Yeah, that's a good one. That is a good one. I don't. Yeah, I'll take that one.
Mm-hmm.
I got one more, right? Or no?
No, this is fifth round. You are
Yeah.
done. I am final pick of the draft. It comes to me.
I feel like I know one of yours, Rob.
What are you thinking?
He needs hints.
Virginia versus Virginia Tech.
I don't like that because Virginia's always ass.
Oh man,
I love Virginia Tech, but I don't like Virginia. They're never really good. Like, I get it. I just don't like it. Yeah. See, I'm thinking right now, though, man, you've got the Civil War with Oregon State. You've got Bedlam. I think people forget. Well, even though Oklahoma has absolutely destroyed that rivalry, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
People still hate each other, though. People still hate each other.
Which one was the Apple Cup? Washington State? Is that the Apple Cup?
It sounds like it. You know what? Part of me, I'm torn on two of them right now, and I don't. This one of them you don't really see a lot of, but the nostalgia has wore off. There was one game that created that. It's an iconic rivalry, but it was created by one game, and I don't know if I want that one.
Catholics, convicts?
Yeah, I was thinking that.
One game.
I know that's the problem. It's not true. It's not a true one.
The Holy War is what, BYU and Utah?
Yeah, Utah's trash. I'm not doing that. Y'all know that. Utah's trash. Excuse me. Give me, and I'm going to end it off on this one. I think this one's interesting. The Egg Bowl. Ole Miss, Mississippi State. And listen, we can sit here and shit on Mississippi State, and we can shit on Ole Miss because they, outside of right now with Lane Kiffin, they haven't been that great. But I'm telling you right now, the tradition of playing on Thanksgiving or Black Friday, I'm here to tell you, those games are always must watch because some crazy shit pops off. Just does. All right, I think that is it for the 5 rounds. So here we go. I'm going to read them in order. I'm going to read them slow enough for y'all to decide who wins. Let us know in the comments. There will also be a poll on social media. Keon, I'm going to read yours off first. Keon starts off with the Red River Rivalry, Texas, Oklahoma. You have the Iron Bowl. You have the Cocktail Party, Georgia and Florida. You also have Bama LSU and Oregon Washington. Solid list.
I'm not going to lie. We are all in the Southeastern Conference. We are all in the footprint. I have the best rivalries in the footprint.
We'll let democracy decide. Stop.
Yeah, y'all can tell me I won already. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Dan, you have Duke UNC. You have
Great.
Army Navy. Yeah, Army Navy. Notre Dame USC. You have Boston College and Boston University, hockey specific. And West Virginia Pitt. I have Deep South Soldiers rivalry, right? Because fuck Auburn, what they stand for. I've got the game with Michigan, Ohio State.
That's a great
I've got third Saturday in October, Bama, Tennessee. I've got Miami and Florida. I could have done Florida State and it would have been okay too. And then rounding it off, I have the Egg Bowl, Ole Miss, and Mississippi State. Let us know what your thoughts are, who won in the comments. And like I said, we'll post this on social media unless you decide to. Democracy will decide. Watch for the poll. Any rivalries, guys, that we didn't list that were maybe on your list, but obviously not in the starting 5?
I think for a hockey rivalry, Michigan versus Michigan State would have been another great one. That would have been. I just didn't want to, because I didn't know if you were going to go that way or what. I was kind of expecting you to go there, but I would say that one. I would also say.
Well, I mean, you could even say Maine, New Hampshire if you're going to do hockey, because that one's crazy too.
I was going to say Duke and Kentucky.
But that's
in basketball, but it's not as great.
It's not really a rivalry because they don't play often enough.
They just hate each other.
Yeah.
It's just anytime.
Notre Dame, Ohio State. That's another great one.
Oh,
I was going to say USC, UCLA.
But the one I was going to say was Florida State in softball.
That's a fact.
But now Oklahoma's the best team in the country, and it's not even fucking close. So I don't.
Still the best team in the country.
Did
anything about the Palmetto Bowl strike y'all? Clemson, South Carolina.
Yeah, but I just wasn't.
I'm trying to think of other ones. I mean, there's so many good ones in the SEC. Like, as you could tell, this is an SEC heavy list. Iowa State. It's not that great. Like, fucking hell.
Well, I mean, you have Paul Bunyan's
Cal Stanford.
Cal Stanford was, but see, it's lost relevance. But like, the Big Ten has so many freaking rivalries. You have the Apple Cup, which is I think Washington State, but then you have Paul Bunyan's Axe. You have the Claret Jug as another Big Ten one.
What about LSU, Ole Miss, the boot?
I wouldn't.
It's not a bad. Yeah, Harry. doing me dirty here, man.
I mean, Harry, here's the thing. If you want to go off of Southeastern elegance, relevance, and championships, I appreciate you for saying that I won.
Apple Cup is Washington State. Golden Boot is Arkansas LSU. Excuse me.
So do the claret jug is Michigan to somebody.
Hold on, the claret. You said what? The jug?
Claret jug.
I'll look for it.
So like that, the way that bowl game started is they won. Like Michigan had like they left their jug or whatever, and they wanted it back. And Michigan's like, if you want it back, fucking beat us. And that's how that started.
Michigan, Minnesota is a little brown jug.
Yeah, a little brown jug. That's what Minnesota wanted it back, and Michigan's like, if you want it back, beat us.
Yeah, Paul Bunyan is Michigan State. Michigan State, Notre Dame is Megaphone Trophy. Paul Bunyan's Axis, Minnesota, Wisconsin.
Yeah, so I mean, they all have like cool names and stuff like that.
USC, Notre Dame's got the Jules Shillelagh.
Yeah, that's the one I picked. Dude, like, you know, the sad part is a lot of these rivalries have lost their luster. They're not what they once were.
What about Texas? What about Texas A&M?
That's going to be a good one. I do want to let everybody know that every time Texas and Oklahoma play each other in any sport, it is the Red River rivalry.
I thought I always called it the Red River Shootout.
Same thing.
People get canceled if you ain't careful nowadays. Guys, let us know in the comments. Again, let us know. Also, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, follow us on Twitter. Keon, what's your handle on Twitter?
I am Podcast Poppy. That's where you can find me. Gonna be on Twitter while playing Madden, or not Madden, but College Football 25 today. Haven't really done much sleeping, but yet again want to give a massive shout out to Apotheos Coffee, because God, y'all are my lifeline right now.
Dan, if I'm not mistaken, yours is Dan Kiley _3. Just Dan Kiley 3.
Oh, no underscore. Okay. No underscore.
Just Dan Kiley 3. I will not be live streaming any NCAA 25, but I will be playing it. And the longer the show goes on, the less time I have to play it.
With that being said, we're going to wrap this up so that everybody can go play their games and break, you know what I mean? Like I said, make sure to like, follow, rate, review. Let us know what you think about the comments, or the content, excuse me. Wow. With that being said, guys, we'll see y'all next time.
Keon, did you see at 4:15 yesterday, there were 750-something thousand people on the servers?
Yeah, and they crashed. They crashed immediately, which was very funny to me because I was at work, but I had friends who were streaming the game, and they're like, "And it's down." I'm like, "What do we think, guys?"
It's at South Park, and it's gone.
Right.
I got home at 5:15, and it was working.
Yes, sir.
Just like, all right, there you go. That is your fun fact. With that being said, we will catch y'all next time.